the next day, my dad had to go in for like a parent-teacher conference. Welcome back to Redside Canine EC
Let's
Radio.
go.
Today we're going to be talking about engagement.
Yeah, engagement. Your dog staring at you.
Eye contact, focus.
Yeah, I don't know when that became so popular. I should have researched this, but in all reality, I don't research anything. We just kind of talk shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's bleed over from the sport world or from
the purely positive community.
Yeah. I was just saying earlier about like how like when you can't, like when you're what Tom Davis calls it, not balanced and purely positive. He calls it limited and unlimited dog training. Like when you limit yourself to no tools or to one or a few tools, like you are a limited dog trainer. But when you unlock your full potential and you use whatever makes sense, you're an unlimited dog trainer. Like you can unleash unlimited potential.
It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. So like if you're a limited dog trainer, then you kind of have to lean on what you have as a crutch. So like you push that engagement or you push that like eye contact reward harder. And like, I guess that kind of also blends in. Like, I don't really know, maybe they do. I really don't know any really good balance trainers that teach a focus, like the command focus. Like,
oh, yeah.
We'll see a lot of clients come into the store, or not clients, but like we'll see a lot of customers come into the store and like they are either marking or teaching the command of focus to like give eye contact. And like outside of taking a picture, I really don't know where that's applicable. Like,
yeah, to me, the way I see it is it's kind of like a Band-Aid fix on an arterial wound, right? Like you're not actually getting to the root cause of what's going on. It's just like I can't, like for me, I can promise you I'm never going to die skydiving because I'm not going to go skydiving.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm also not learning how to skydive.
Right.
So the dog, like if it's staring at me, maybe it can't make a mistake. But also like I'm not actually teaching the dog like, hey, you just can't do that.
Right. I feel like that's the same way for me. When you make your dog sit before putting their food bowl down, or you make your dog sit like teaching obedience is great. Like you can use obedience whenever you want, but like if your dog bum rushes the food bowl when you like go to set it down and they knock it out of your hand, like I understand the premise of like make them sit before that. Well, your dog's bum rushing because they have no impulse control. So you telling them to sit, like they're still probably breaking the sit to go bum rush the food bowl anyway. Or it's just that Band-Aid where they're able to sit for a split second until you get it down and then they break, or it's impulse control through a doorway. Like you can stop the behavior. You don't need to mask it with a command or with whatever else it is.
Yeah, like maybe the theory behind it is it's like a competing behavior. So like if the dog is looking at me, sure, it can't go attack another dog.
Right.
But you can also just teach it not to be an asshole.
Yeah.
And I think it's over relied upon, and it's becoming like a fatty topic where that's all you hear is engagement. And to me, like I look at engagement as like just because a dog is staring at me doesn't mean it like we're cool, right? Because Thor, my personal dog, like he watches me most of the time wherever I am, and it's not because like I worked on it. He's just like, is dad about to leave? Is dad about to do this? So like we have a really healthy relationship, but he has a zero focused heel because to me it's not practical. Sure, it looks pretty if you're in the dog sport community and that's a requirement. Absolutely 100% get it. But when we go for a walk, like he stares at absolutely everything.
Right.
Because he's inquisitive. And I want him to be that. To me, that also helps with like socializing the dog, is seeing the world, figuring out what is good, what is bad, what's going to jump out and get you, what's not. But they have to see it. If they never see it and they can't experience it, then they're not learning as much as they possibly could.
Yeah, like Paisley's another good example. Like she has great
Paisley
engagement.
is not a good example of anything.
She has great engagement. Like she's like, if like we're in the house or we're doing whatever, like she's looking at us pretty much constantly. But like on a walk, absolutely. Like off leash on a walk, whatever it is, like I want you to explore the world. Like I don't want you to be a robot in terms of like
Just
beelining it
stare
on
at me nonstop.
Yeah. No, like I don't get it. It's definitely something like you want to build a relationship. So like if my dog does look at me versus look at something else, like yeah, I'm gonna reward it because I'm happy that you're looking at me, but I'm not like, I need to work on this. Like I need to train engagement, or I need to train focus or eye contact or whatever it is, just because like I'm gonna get that through training everything else. Like through teaching neutrality, I'm going to have engagement built up in a way as a byproduct, but it's not like my main mission.
Yeah, it would be interesting to go, because I think it's like it's one of those words that can have 10,000 meanings, right? It's not like sit means sit. You ask me what sit means, and we poll 10,000 dog trainers. Everybody's going to say the same thing, but it's like a convoluted or watered down term where it's like, what does engagement mean to you? And like to me, I always think about the dog just staring at me. Mm-hmm. But then like with my own dog, yeah, we have engagement because like he wants to play nonstop when it's like in work time. And then other people, like it could mean something else. I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with this point, but it's just a bullshit fatty term in my opinion.
Yeah. And like, that's definitely a big part of like, if you are working your dog, is to not care about the fads or not care about what you see, the Instagram dog doing. It's your own dog. If it is your own dog, or if you're a trainer or whatever it is, like, we always say like work the dog in front of you, train the dog in front of you. Like don't care about what all these fads or whatever crap you see,
Yeah. And it's like you have to look at, from the owner's perspective, like look at the end result and what you want with your dog. What do you want to achieve? Like, do you just want to be able to go for a walk on a loose leash and not be pulled around?
Yeah.
Sure. Do you want your dog to be social, and we're going to do a whole nother episode on socialization, what it actually is. But do you want your dog just to be able to be a productive member of the family? Absolutely. But in my opinion, you don't have to force the dog to stare at you the whole time.
Right.
It's just weird.
Yeah. And like not that it's it could definitely be done correctly, like in the sport world or in the like trick training, releasing with reward, kind of like I'm continuing engagement. Like if like we're doing 10 commands super fast and I'm releasing, rewarding, I'm continuing my engagement with the dog because we're still working, we're still building up tricks or whatever it is. But like in the pet world, we're like, I kind of want my dog to be relaxed. Like I don't want my dog to be full drive all the time.
No.
Like if I'm taking my dog in somewhere and I'm going to be relaxed, like if I put you on place and I'm going to watch TV and I'm going to be relaxed for the next 30 minutes, it kind of like bums me out when I see my dog and they're like lasered on me.
Yeah.
You're on place, you're doing the job that I asked you to do, but it's like, come on, man, like loosen up a little bit, like relax a little bit. Like I don't want you to be so focused on me. I want you to do the job that I told you to do.
Actually, it's weird that you mentioned this. I had probably an hour-long phone call with another trainer not too long ago, a couple days ago, about overdoing payment in like drivey dogs. Mm-hmm. So he was working with out of all dogs, it was a basset hound, okay. Right? And I didn't know that they could be drivey. Like I just pictured them as like dopey, dumb dogs with big ears, right? I haven't worked with too many of them, but he was sending me videos of this little basset hound puppy, and that thing was drivey as shit.
Yeah, I've only had one basset hound, and it was like a pet store puppy that had a lot of problems from being from a pet store, but it was like a little fireball, like one of those like flies to place, baseball slides, whips around, and is like ready for whatever the next thing is.
Yeah. So what we were talking about is he was working on crate training the dog, and the prescriptions for that is like, feed the dog in the crate. Easiest one to do. But with that dog in particular, we kind of discussed for a while, like the amount of anticipation of reward for the dog getting into the crate was so high that the dog just turned into like a fiend in the kennel. where like it wouldn't settle because that anticipation was like there. So the dog is getting in the kennel jacked. Like if you, and that's another reason, like with place cots, right? Like I don't do a lot of crazy payment while teaching the dog place, right? Especially if I'm working with a high drive dog, because I don't want that anticipation of the reward to be like way up there.
Right.
Where like you look at a dog about to do bite work, and if I put Thor on place and then I go send him to a bite, like now he's going to have that high level anticipation, and he's just going to get on the place cot and be like trembling because he's jacked and he wants to go, bite shit. So with him, it's just calm. Like, yeah, he understands the concept. There's going to be, if you get off, there can be corrections. Maybe you get like a low level payment, like here's some kibble. But outside of that, like there's no markers, there's no nothing, because I need to keep him chill.
Yeah.
So with this puppy, like we kind of talked about it, and he worked through it. No more food in the kennel. The crate is just like chill yourself out, and then we're kind of changed it to where like if you're super chill, mellow, then you can come out and we'll go do something low level. Like we're gonna go for an unstructured walk and just kind of chill. But because that pup loved to work so much, like doing anything, and the reason we did that is because that's not going to translate over into the home, right? So when you have the client, and she worked nights of all things too, so like scheduling was weird, but she needs the dog to be chill in a crate. So you have to kind of undo that, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, for sure. And like even like what you're saying about the driviness going to place and whatnot, a lot of times like walking in for that reward would always be something that would like the dog is so excited to do it and they're so drivey to work that like it's hard to break that threshold. Like they'll hold, like if we're placing and downing on the place board, like they'll hold it for the super duration or for super distractions, but it's you walking in with that reward. They pop up to where like I'll like at a distance, like 5 or 6 feet away, I'll like little ball toss or like little like cornhole beanbag toss, whatever treat it is, like I'm not delivering it to you. Like it's coming, like you're going to stay in that down. I'm going to throw it at you essentially. And then like it'll land next to your face and then you can eat it. And like, that'll keep them from like a little bit of that driviness of like bouncing up every time you walk into them to give them that reward.
Yeah. Sometimes with dogs like that, and we'll just keep rolling on randomness. I make myself way less valuable. So like I'll do, and it's how I get my steps in the day, is I'll walk to the dog, ignore the dog. And maybe 1 out of 50, I'll actually pay the dog. Right. Yeah. So now I become irrelevant. The dog's like, oh, he's just walking up to me. It doesn't mean anything. And oh, he gave me some kibble. But I look at how I base my decision is of when I'm going to pay the dog is the dog's behavior, because in all reality, the dog dictates absolutely everything in training.
Oh yeah.
So if the dog's like, he sucks, even if the dog looks away from me at that point, doesn't engage, maybe I pay it then.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I was gonna say, like, even with that, like, that's kind of like you are always in that OODA loop process while you're training, like not a bad situation. Like you're not like
OODA loop, self plug for whatever episode drop it was, but go back to stress management. We thoroughly break down the OODA loop.
Yeah. For being able to train a dog effectively, like, again, calm, no stress, no excitement, whatever, I might take a dog out and like, all right, cool. Like I'm going to do continuous reinforcement because like the dog's never been doing this behavior before. They've never been doing this obedience.
No, now you're throwing big words out there, Greg. Continuous reinforcement.
So for the jargon,
I read that in the medical book, and now
so for the jargon of that,
you're one of those assholes I talk about.
giving a reward at a high cyclic rate for we'll use military jargon. So
okay, I'm
rewarding
tracking
at a cyclic rate of fire.
I'm pretty sure it's cyclic.
Cyclic?
Yeah,
that's weird.
I don't know. This is now the wives' wise tale.
Cyclic.
Neither of us are English majors.
Cyclic. I don't know. My machine gunners would say cyclic.
First of all, if you're ever going to say, oh, I heard that in the Marine Corps, it must be accurate. Or like, outside of like policies and procedures, you're wrong.
Huh.
Yeah. And then you also you're from New Jersey.
That's true.
And the school system, not exactly the best in
hashtag trash can. I didn't even, anyway.
Anyways. Comment below. Let us know.
What I was saying about, I might have a plan for the dog, essentially. Like I might have a plan, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But then one reward in, I'm OODA looping because the dog's behavior for that reward was not what I expected.
Yeah.
Like either I don't need to continuously reinforce it. Like I gave it one treat and it's like holding it down for 5 minutes on its own. Like, cool. Like you're self-reinforcing or whatever it is. Like you're cool, you're chill. Or like you said, like if the dog is expecting a reward, well then now we're going to pass by you until you understand that like I don't always mean value. I don't always mean a reward. Whatever it is, you're always constantly changing your next step or your next part of the training evolution, your next part of the training session to make it mean the most for the dog.
Yeah. I think what was it? Tuesday night, I was doing odor work with those Malinois. Mm-hmm. And so the puppy is at the point where I'm putting like heavy distractions on her. And I've made myself so invaluable in the search process with her, like by lying to her so many times, trying to get her to search one of the tubes doesn't have the target odor in it. Now she won't even search a tube if I'm sitting in front of it because she's like, I know he's full of shit there.
That's
right?
pretty cool.
So I overdid it. And the way that I have to bring it back to the left a little bit. Now, 30% of the time I'll be near the hole that has the target odor that she's looking for in that particular search.
So like you're saying, like as you're like tapping it or like trying to like get her to.
Yeah. So like, I would stand behind the tube and just this particular one, and I would be tapping on it, like search this one, mm-hmm. and it's dog food or a Kong or some distracting odor. And she like so many times she's like, he must be telling me the truth because why would he lie to me? Right. To put it in like human terms.
Yeah.
But I always lied. 100% of the time I would lie to her mm-hmm. because I wanted her not to rely on me for any input and like an actual search equation for the dog. And then I started telling the truth. And then she was like, nope.
I'm not checking.
That dude is a 100% liar. So I'm not even going to waste my energy and go look where he is. And then I was like, well, you kind of have to.
Yeah, like you have to check where
I'm not always lying. I'm not like this big, terrible person.
Yeah. I'd like to do a whole episode on like working dog stuff. Like that'd be interesting to just dive into the whole like single purpose, dual purpose,
Let's do it.
Going over scent stuff.
Let's do it. We're changing topics right now. Just kidding.
Welcome back.
Engagement is stupid.
Yeah. Engagement is stupid. We started that off with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up. It's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever it is of us just rambling
on.
But my brain's getting fired up. So, all right. Where can people get you on the tube? If you haven't figured it out yet, there's like 10 episodes dropped. You should know our names by now.
Yeah.
You should subscribe to our social media platforms.
Follow, like,
we're
subscribe.
Epic. Share the episode.
RSK9NC.Craig.
Yeah.
RSK9 Training Supplies.
Yeah. Don't you always forget to plug the store. If you're local to the North Carolina area, check it out.
Yeah.
Or if you have the internet, look it up.
Yeah.
You can get us training if you're on the East Coast of North Carolina, Ridgeside Canine, Eastern Carolina. Mike_Swarchek for more like the police stuff and non-business related items. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Later.